यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अस्तोत्र सुत श्री श्रीमान अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अस्तोत्र सदर श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन मथुर धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माय यमुना माय भक्ति देवी की श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की संवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि वो। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru Sri Gauranga. Nada, can I get first canto? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudhirayet Nashtapraye Svabhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna. So reading from Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 22. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya mudha vasudeve bhagavati kurvantya atma prasadanim. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvantyatma prasadanim ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvantya atma prasadanim. Please repeat. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya mura vasudeve bhagavati kurvantya atma prasadanim. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvantya atma prasadanim. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvantya atma prasadanim. Matajis. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda vasudeve bhagavati kurvantya atma prasadanim. Ataha, therefore, vai, certainly, kavayaha, all transcendentalists, nityam, from time immemorial, bhaktim, service unto the Lord, paramaya, supreme, muda, with great delight, vasudeve, Sri Krishna, Bhagavati, the personality of Godhead, kurvanti, do render, atma, self, prasadanim, that which enlivens. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. Please repeat after me. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. Purport. The speciality of devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, is specifically mentioned herein. Is this too loud? Okay. Lord Sri Krishna is the Swayam Rupa personality of Godhead, and all other forms of Godhead, beginning from Sri Baldev, Sankarshana, Vasudev, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Narayana, and extending to the Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Leela avatars, Yuga avatars, and many other thousands of manifestations of the personality of Godhead, or Lord Sri Krishna's plenary portions and integrated parts. These living entities are separated parts and parcels of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna is the original form of Godhead, and He's the last word in the transcendence. Thus, he is more attractive to the higher transcendentalists who participate in the eternal pastimes of the Lord. In forms of the personality of Godhead other than Sri Krishna and Baldev, there is no facility for intimate personal contact as in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord at Braj Bhumi. The transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna are not newly accepted as argued by some less intelligent persons. His pastimes in due course, the sunrise or Dasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Swayam Rupa Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupa Agraja Bhagana Raghunath Shri Krishna Pada Namoste Tapta Angi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Tiratarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for attending today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I'd like to beg the blessings of the senior Vaishnavas, His Holiness Chandrasekhar Maharaj, and all the assembled devotees. Many of you are very much senior than me and more learned than me and more materially and spiritually more just very advanced. And somehow I was thinking about this morning, just like how in the military phalanx, like sometimes the generals stay in the back because they're very intelligent, and then they push the frontline soldiers to the front. So, and because they're more likely to be disposable, that's per se. So I feel like that whenever I feel like I'm giving class, it's like I feel like like the seniors are in the back, and then I feel like I've been pushed to the front. But I'm just looking to serve. And tomorrow is the amazing day of Balaram Jayanti or Balaram Purnima. Very auspicious day, and if we don't know much about Balaram, it's good to read up on him. I got the good opportunity. That's the amazing thing about being able to serve Srimad Bhagavatam, is that whenever I get to serve the class, it's more than me preaching to anybody else. It's more more preaching to my own mind. You get to prepare very nicely for the verse, because if you want to share something, you should know it quite well. So I looked up this word Jayanti, This word Balaram, we say Jayanti. In India, there are many great leaders, freedom fighters and social reformers. And whenever they have a birthday, it's called Jayanti, right? I'm correct? So, but this is different. Why do we call the Lord's appearance is called Jayanti? Ours is, and in English we say it's the appearance or disappearance day. It's a bit incorrect to say birthday or death day, or we say appearance and disappearance. It's Krishna and Bhagavan. He never actually none of us actually die, as established by Bhagavad Gita. Our body is decomposed and leaves, but so if we ourselves don't die, how can the Lord have birthday and disappearance and death or anything like that? So, but our appearance, our birthday and Lord's appearance day are very different. How are we born? The jiva is pushed through the womb of the mother, through the seminal discharge of the father, and he has no control where he's going. You can be born in a very poor country, or you can be born as the son or daughter of Bill Gates, very wealthy family. Do we have any control over that? Do I have control? I was born in America or born in India or born in Africa or anywhere. We have no control. And we're basically pushed by our past activities. Karmana deva netrena. But Lord, the Krishna, his appearance and disappearance, he has chosen how he's going to appear and disappear. The sun rises and sets. So God, he comes where he wants to appear. He confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. You know, nowadays, if you go in India, Srila Prabhupada also mentions this in some of his lectures. In India, you go into every street corner, there's at least 5 people claiming to be God themselves. So, and this is popular even back in the 90s and 2000s. Even some family members of mine were caught up in this. There was a man proclaiming himself to be Kalki, the incarnation that's coming up at the end of Kali Yuga. He's saying, "I am Kalki." And in the year 2011 or 2012, he would show his Kalki form. And when 2012 came, he didn't show his form, and he became a businessman after that. he owns a big business now. So this is kind of the how the living entity wants to be God, but actually Krishna, it's described, the devotees of ISKCON and Krishna consciousness weren't fazed by this man, because we know where Kalki is going to be born. We know who his parents are, what time period. We know all these things because these are given in Shastra. So Balaram and Krishna, when we speak about the Supreme Lord, we have to understand their appearance is not like ours, right? So they're coming out of their own form. So Krishna and Balaram, Srila Prabhupada mentions in many classes, there's actually no difference between them. Krishna has 6 opulences, Balaram has 6 opulences. They both have, Krishna has Rasila, Balaram has Rasila. There's actually no difference between them, but this is where Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva actually, it gets confusing in the beginning. There's no difference, but there's 2 main differences. And Srila Prabhupada says the one difference is the color. Krishna's form is white. What's Krishna's? Sham. What is Balaram's color? Bluish and white. Yeah. Balaram is described as white, like the moon, and Krishna is described as Sham, like the bluish, blackish rain cloud. So, but there's another difference between Krishna and Balaram. Krishna is our object of service, and Balaram, he is giving service. He is giving Krishna service. He is the first incarnation of the Lord. So there's Krishna, and then there's his first expansion is Balaram. So even though there's no difference between the two, there is a difference. And Balaram, he is actually the personification of service and how to serve. You can learn this from Lord Balaram. I'll give you some examples. Balaram, he actually serves in 5 rasas. I kind of want to make it interactive. If the mic for the audience can be given. Does anybody know the 5 primary rasas that are displayed? Ryan, you want to shout it out? Okay. Okay, start from the top. Friendship.
Parental affection.
Okay.
Dasya, servitude.
Yes.
So parenthood, but that's a parenthood, maternal affection. There's Sakya Ras, friendship. There's Shanti Ras is like a neutral kind
Neutrality.
of Ras, which is sort of considered Ras, conjugal Ras, Dasya Ras, and servitude.
Yes.
Or on reverence.
Very good. Big round of applause for Ryan. So can you believe Lord Balaram, he serves in all 5 rasas. This is how great of a servant he is. In Shanta Ras, he is coming as Lord Krishna's shoes. Shanta means neutrality. It's something that is neutral. He's coming as Lord Krishna's shoes, his ornaments, his abode. I was hearing Srila Prabhupada's pastimes, and one disciple, I think it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was sharing that when they were getting the land in Mayapur, Mayapur is in West Bengal, when they're finding the land in Mayapur, they weren't getting the land for many months. And then they asked Srila Prabhupada, what should we do? And he said, you should pray to Lord Balaram. And actually, when Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to sleep that night, in a dream, Lord Balaram came and he says, yes, you must pray to me. I am Dham Svarup. He is the Dham himself. So, and then he confirmed this with Srila Prabhupada. He said, yes, we must make a great opulence feast for Balaram and pray to Balaram. And then within 3 weeks, they got the land for ISKCON Mayapur. So, and we go to the Dham, and Balaram, in neutrality, the Dham is Balaram himself. What do we do in the Dham? We put our feet on the Dham. Cats and dogs and pigs are passing stool in the Dham. And what is Balaram is doing? He doesn't ask anything in return. He's saying, basically, you have come to the Dham, please come and serve Krishna very nicely. Actually, there's one Acharya, I think it was Ramanujacharya. He was so humble that in Tirupati, there's 7 hills. And there's 7 hills of Tirupati. And he said, these hills are non-different from Balaram. How can I put my feet in them? So to get to the temple, you have to climb go through these 7 hills. He crawled on his knees because he did not want to put his feet on the Lord. So Lord Balaram is the Dham in neutrality. And Dasya, in servitude, what does Balaram do? Sometimes Krishna and Balaram are relaxing under a tree after taking care of the cows and everything. And what does Balaram do? Balaram takes Krishna's feet and starts massaging them. And he wants to serve Krishna like that. And when they're stealing butter, what does he do? Balaram says, I'm the older brother, get on my back. I'm taller, get on my back, I can steal the butter. You can reach the butter. So in that way, he's serving Krishna and Dasya. Now, Sakya, I don't really explain very much, because Krishna's friendship. He's rolling on the ground. In our Krishna Balaram temple, ISKCON Vrindavan is located in a place of Vrindavan called Raman Reti, which means the place where Krishna and Balaram were playing and were rolling in the grass. If you go to Raman Reti, the devotees actually, it's traditional that you go and roll on the ground in the dust there. It's very nice. Vatsalya, how does Balaram serve in Vatsalya? He's the older brother. He protects. When he goes and tattles on Krishna, and he says, he goes to Mother Yashoda, I actually think your son's in danger. What happened? He ate dirt. And then he goes and he goes and tattles on Krishna, and Yashoda asks Krishna, did you eat dirt? And Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Param Brahma, Param Dhava, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Ishvara Parama Krishna, such a great, the most purest, the most clean. And what does he do? He lies to his own mother. And he says, no, I have not eaten dirt. And actually our Acharya is Sanatana Goswami. He gives a very nice comment to this, why Krishna has lied to his mother. And Krishna actually tries to justify himself in one understanding. He says, my dear mother, you have taught me very well education. And according to the various Puranas and Vedas, one of these 7 mothers is the earth. And I am trying to take the milk of Mother Earth, and I'm trying to eat that dirt. So, but then Yashoda's like, no, you should not. You should basically not do this. So Krishna, Balaram is trying to protect Krishna in Vatsalya. And Madhurya, Lord Balaram comes as Ananga Manjari, who is the younger sister of Srimati Radharani and serves Radha and Krishna in Madhurya Prem. So you can see Balaram, he's always serving in whatever capacity. If we kick it back to one yuga before, in Treta Yuga, Balaram comes as Lakshmana. But in this incarnation, he is the younger brother. And Dwapara, he's the older brother. And when Lord Ram, if you're not familiar with Ramayana, it's worth knowing the basic story. Basically, Lord Ram was banished to the forest for 14 years. And Srimati Sita Devi, it's actually traditional that when the wife should follow the husband. So that's another name of Srimati Sita Devi is Ardhangini. Ardhangini means chaste. So a chaste wife always follows the husband. So so Sita goes with Ram in the forest. That's fine. But there's no rule in scripture or any book that says the brother has to follow the brother when he's banished. But Lakshman wanted to follow his brother. Now we see, Srila Prabhupada even mentions this, is that now we see brother fighting brother in court, fighting over property, fighting over inheritance, and the whole family relationship has gone. But Lakshman, out of great compassion for and wanting to serve his brother Ram, he goes and serves. He goes and it gets banished with him. And in Chitrakoot, when Lakshman is walking, when Ram and Sita are walking, he's paving the way and he's clearing out the pebbles. And even though Lakshman's feet are being stamped by the pebbles, he's saying that I don't want my Lord to be hit by these pebbles. And there's one personality called Guha. There's a personality called Guha, and he was traveling at some point with Ram and Lakshman and Sita. And Guha, Lord Ram asked, where should I sleep tonight? And Guha says, I have this nice straw over here. And when Lakshman heard this, that my dear Lord Ramchandra he's a king. He's supposed to be a king. He's going to sleep on a straw mat. He says, fine. I will just because I've heard this very horrible thing, I make a vow. In the whole Valmiki Ramayana, there is not one instance when Lakshman is sleeping. He never slept. And he made that vow that I will never sleep because my Lord Ram is there. And throughout the night, he would be with his bow and arrow, just like this, and he would protect, and he would see if any marauders or wild animals are coming to hurt Lord Ram. We also make resolutions. People are doing good with their New Year's resolutions. I don't know, look back in your notes, and you can see how far. It's August, it's like how many months we have left? Like 6? Like 4? August, September, October. It's almost September. September, October, November, December. We have 4 months left of the year. So this is also a resolution that Lakshman took, that I will never sleep. I don't recommend that for all of us. I mean, he's not a jiva. He's literally the incarnation of the Lord. So he's the personification of service. There's only one service that Lakshman could not handle. And that was when Sita was to be sent to Valmiki's ashram when she comes back. He says, I cannot bear to see my Lord Ram and Sita to be separated. And he says, actually, this is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, Glories of Lord Balaram, I believe. He's saying that this is all happening because I am the younger brother. And because I'm the younger brother, I cannot put much of a protest to my older brother. So from now on, I would like to be only the older brother. And I would like to dictate these. I want to have more of a say in these type of things. So, and then we have Lakshman in Dwapara, Balaram in Treta. What's the name of in Kali Yuga? Nityananda. And Nityananda, one of his most famous pastimes, we speak about this pastime all the time, is Jagai and Madhai. The first ever door-to-door book distribution or preaching. And Jagai and Madhai were not like normal, sinful people. They would go, whenever there's a sacrifice by the Brahmanas, they would go past stool and urine by this. They would read the Shastras just to see what rules there are to break them. They would kill Brahmanas and drink their blood. This is Jagai and Madhai's so horrible lives. I think Shishi Radha Govinda are trying to get open. Shishi Radha Govinda Dev Ki. So Jagai and Madhai were not ordinary criminals. They were the worst of the worst. So as Nitai and Haridas Thakur, his Sankirtan partner, they were going around Navadvip and they were trying to distribute books, distribute the holy name back then. There were no books then. It was just a holy name. And Nitai would just cry out to people. And then Haridas Thakur was like, he's a crazy Sankirtan partner. Anybody had a crazy Sankirtan partner before? Rajmohan had a crazy Sankirtan partner who would just do anything and everything, you know. Like I was doing Sankirtan once here, and then this guy, and I don't want to name his name because he's a really nice devotee, and he went up to this person, and this person was a goth person, was wearing all black leather, and then he goes up to this lady and says, Mataji, you look like you're straight from the hellish planets. And then you know what she said? Oh, thank you very much. That's the look I was going for, you know. And she got like many books. So a crazy partner. And Nitai was like, he would say, "Mukhe Hari Bholo Bhai, e matra bhikha chai." He says, I'm a mendicant. I want to just, and I only require one donation. Mukhe Hari Bholo Bhai. Just chant Hare Krishna. That is my only alms that I need. So this is the quality of Nityananda Prabhu. And when they were going on Sankirtan, they see Jagai and Madhai, the craziest, the most sinful, the most dangerous people in Navadvip. And Nitai's first reaction is, these guys. These are the guys that need. These are the guys that need it. And Haridas Thakur is like, oh, wait a second. But Nitai is like, okay, if we give them and they start chanting Hare Krishna, then Lord Chaitanya's true prophecy of being Patit Pavan will be true, because these guys are Patitas. So he approaches Jagai and Madhai and he says, please chant Hare Krishna. Jagai and Madhai is like, is he talking to me? Is he talking to me? No, and it can't be. And Madhai was so rude to Nityananda Prabhu, and finally it escalated in the following session. Was that Madhai attacks Nitai, and he takes a clay pot and he slams it on the head of Nityananda Prabhu, and his head is bleeding. And Nitai is. And just remember, don't get it twisted. Nitai is Balaram, Balaram is Anantasesh, and every hood of Anantasesh, there's a universe floating, and every universe, there's millions of planets, and then there's this Earth planet, and in Earth planet, there's millions of people, and there's these two insignificant jivas who are hitting the head of Anantasesha, and Anantasesha, as in the form of Nitai, is ready to take it, and he could burn them to ashes, but he's ready to take the offense of these two insignificant people, and he's begging them at the lotus feet, please chant. Now, an interesting question. You're saying Lord Nityananda is Krishna. How can Krishna bleed? How can blood come out of Krishna's body? It's Satya Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. It is eternity, knowledge, and bliss. How can Lord Krishna's body bleed? Say it in the mic. This is my question. Anybody can answer.
Krishna did the same thing with Bhishma Dev. So it's to facilitate some sort of pastime or rasa. Or, yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Nathabar Gauranga Prabhu? No. So, yes. So Chaitanya Bhagavat in Vrindavan Das Thakur, and I was just looking at this, it mentions this, that Lord Nityananda thought that these guys, Jagai and Madai, would never be able to approach Lord Chaitanya because they're just so sinful. But if I get attacked and if I start bleeding and I'm in trouble because Lord Chaitanya's Aham Bhakta Paradhino, 9th canto confirms, he is the master of his devotees. Lord Chaitanya will come here to try to save me, and these two will get darshan of Lord Gauranga. So that's exactly what happens as Lord Nityananda's thinking. He says, he gets struck by the pot, and then the villagers go tell Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya comes, and he's not Patit Pavan anymore. He comes as Vaikunta Narayan, and he takes his Sudarshan Chakra, and he says, I'm ready to kill them. And Lord Nityananda is saying, and he's holding them back, and he says, no. If you kill these people, you have to kill entire people of Kali Yuga. Because everybody's going to be like this. How many people in New York City do we meet with the consciousness of Jagai and Madai? A lot of people. So if Lord Chaitanya would have killed them, he would have to kill all of us. But instead, and if you look at his previous incarnations, Lakshman would have gotten furious and killed these people. Balaram would have gotten furious and killed Jagai and Madai. But what did Nitai do? Nitai killed the tendency inside their heart, killed these anarthas in their heart. And this is actually Krishna's plan. So Lord Chaitanya gives mercy to those who deserve it, and Nitai gives to those who don't deserve it. It's like Krishna gives. He says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo, Moksha Yishyami Masucha. Yes? He says this, that you have to abandon all religion, abandon all varieties of religion, and just surrender unto me. That is where Krishna, and that's a high standard. And now, how are we going to practice that? Then Lord Chaitanya comes and he gives and distributes his mercy. But then, what about those who don't deserve it? That's Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu gives it to those who don't deserve it. And this tattva of Balaram is just brilliant. It's actually a very interesting thing. We worship Krishna. How can we worship Krishna without the potency of Krishna, which sustains everything in all incarnations? He comes in actually every incarnation. He comes as Lakshman, he comes as Balaram, he comes as Nityananda Prabhu in Braj Leela, in Ram Leela, in Gaur Leela, and he's simply serving selflessly. And what is another name of Balaram? Adi Guru. He's the eternal and original spiritual master. And this idea of Lord Balaram being the eternal spiritual master is very key to our philosophy. The Guru is Mahatma Prabhu was telling this yesterday also, that sometimes we get into this thing of my guru, your guru, his guru, that guru, and I only hear from my spiritual master. Those people have not actually understand Guru Tattva, because Guru Tattva is something that is eternal, and it's something that basically Sri Guru is the Amsha of Nityananda. He's the Shakti of Nityananda. And by doing so, by being empowerment of Nityananda, he goes and spreads his mercy, and he spreads his mercy in many ways. Why are we trying to limit God into one body, one form? And actually, that's a slight form of impersonalism. So some people ask even the question, why do we even need Guru? It's between me and Krishna. Krishna is in the heart. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivisto. If he's in the heart, why do I even need Guru to be there? Why do I need somebody to come between me and a person that's inside my heart? Valid question, right? He's just inside you. It's kind of like a telescope. And if you look at a telescope and you see big things that you can't even see with your mundane eyes, you look through them, there's many lenses. And if you have those many lenses, you can see things like the moon or different planets like Mars that the naked eye can't see. One time, maybe this is a story by Bhakti Charan Maharaj. He says Guru Nanak was one time asked, why do we need Guru? And Bhakti Charan Maharaj says, I think he said that, build a fire. So this person builds the fire, and then he says, okay, now touch the fire. And he says, I cannot touch the fire. My hand will burn. And he says, now take a stick, a metal rod. And then he says, put the stick in the fire. And he says, this rod is like Guru. He says, you have no qualification to approach Krishna. You have no ability to approach Krishna. But through the rod of Guru, you're able to approach Krishna. That's why even when we do deity worship, if you notice closely, when we have our puja, you will see everybody having a small photo of their spiritual master. And why do we do that? Is because one of the understandings that is given is that actually we're not on the altar. Physically, how can we, with our material bodies and our material conceptions, be on the altar? It's not possible. How can we be worshipping Radha Govinda? Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadru Madaha Srimat Ratnagara Simhasanasto. It's in a bejeweled altar in Vrindavan, in the groves of Vrindavan. How are we qualified? But actually, our spiritual master is doing the worship, and we are actually acting as his servants. This is the whole idea of deity worship. Srila Prabhupada was asked in Shantipur before he came to America, are you going to America, Swamiji? I have heard from various sources you are going to America. He says, no, I am not going to America. Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America, and I am acting as its servant. So even Krishna, even Balaram, people want to be God. Paundraka wanted to be God. We have this Purusha Abhiman, which I want to be the Supreme Lord of everything. But even God wants to be a servant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when people would say, you are God, he would close his ears and run away. So we can understand just by God's movements that even he says the higher position is to be a servant of my devotees rather than to be God himself. He comes under the control. So acharyas are actually transparent mediums, and bhakti is the only medium to get him. And Balaram, bhakti is actually the only bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasvi tatvataha. Balaram represents Guru Tattva. He destroys our anarthas. And I described a little bit about the anarthas. That Bala means strength. I was hearing a pastime by Jadurani, and in the beginning they were like, Krishna should be handsome. And the Western idea of handsome, when they were painting him, is they made Krishna all muscular. and they made him like ripped with six-pack and all this, and he looked like pretty like strong. And Prabhupada said, not like this. This is not how Krishna is like. He's gentle, soft. This is how Krishna is. So Bala means spiritual strength. So Krishna, Balaram is giving us spiritual strength to experience Ram. Ram means the spiritual state of happiness. So Balaram is connecting us through that, through the medium of Guru. One of the mediums is Guru. And he has many names. Balaram, Baladev, Balabhadra, Sankarshana, Rohini Nandan, the son of Rohini, Revati Raman, the enlivener of Revati. And the two, anybody want to guess and take the mic? The two demons, when we think of Balaram, what are the two demons we think of? Wait, Natawar has his hand up. Sorry, teacher's rules.
Dhenuk Asura and Pralam Asura.
Dhenuk Asura and Pralam Asura. So Dhenuk Asura is, if you think about it, just this is a little off-topic point. Think about all of the demons in Krishna's pastimes. If you read Krishna book in Braja Leela, all of them he killed immediately. Krishna Balaram immediately, before Dhenukasura could even give his like, hi, hello, how are you? He says, they immediately just like throws him on top of a tree and just like, you're done. But what are the two people that attacked Vrindavan that he didn't do immediately? He didn't kill immediately. He actually didn't kill three. He didn't kill Kaliya. Kaliya was saved. But actually, if you think about it, Brahma and Indra, they specifically attacked not Krishna. The other ones were just like attacking Krishna. But Brahma and Indra were attacking Krishna's devotees. Indra wanted to attack Krishna through the rain and then attack Govardhan. And he wanted, because they weren't making the sacrifice. Brahma separated the cowherd boys, and he wanted and Krishna. So it's very interesting to think about in that sense. But Dhenukasura and Pralambha, in Chaitanya Sikshamrita by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions each demon. I don't know if many people know this. Each demon has a certain quality which is one of the anarthas. So Dhenukasura, which is the donkey demon, it's mentioned that he represents gross materialistic intelligence and ignorance of spiritual knowledge. Dhenukasura. And actually, what's his name? Radha Gopinath Prabhu was recently here, and he was mentioning a very nice thing about Dhenukasura in the Brahmachari class. He was saying that Dhenukasura is actually the definition of a demon because all the fruits were falling in Talvan, all the fruits were on the ground. Neither did he want to eat it, nor did he want to share it with anybody else. And so this is the quality of an asura. Is an asura, he takes more than he gives. But a sura is one who gives more than he takes. Sometimes we stay in the temple, we visit the temple, and this tendency comes is like in Columbus temple. Sometimes I saw this tendency in myself. Before, if you come to the back gate, back door, you'd actually first pass through the kitchen before you'd see the deities. So actually, I'd first go look and say, okay, what's cooking today? What's the prasadam? And then I'd go see the deities, you know? So we're actually not meant to be served by the temple. We must ask, how can I serve the temple? This is a good quality. Is that anytime we come to the temple, what can I do to serve? Every time we wake up in the morning, how can I be of best service today? That is the mood of Balaram. If we actually want to know about Balaram and Balaram Shakti, the question is, how can I serve at every moment? So this is Dhenukasura. And Pralamba, if you need a refresher, Pralamba came as disguised as a cowherd boy. And he wanted to play a game with Krishna and Balaram. And Balaram and Krishna understood because they're God. And they're like, okay, we'll play a game, and the loser has to get on the back. And Balaram gets on the back of Pralamba, and he gets, the winner has to get on the back. Balaram wins. And Balaram sits on the back of Pralamba, and he becomes the weight of Mount Meru. It's described in Bhagavatam, and Pralamba just gets like made into a dosa. just flattened. So pralamba represents lusty inclination and desire for personal gain and honor. Now, how would you think, why would pralamba, this is a question for everybody, why would pralambasura, out of all people, be lusty incarnation and personal gain? Go ahead, Narda. Mike.
It's the interesting thing about it is he comes into the association of devotees and he blends in as just like one of the cowherd boys. So similarly, sometimes people can come into any type of spiritual practice but not actually have a proper motivation. And that happens even in the process of bhakti, like in the Madhurya Kanambini. It talks about how these anarthas actually arise more, the desire for, adoration and fame and even lust.
Sometimes, that's such a great point, is that sometimes we're in the association of devotees, or even, let's take it outside the association of devotees. You may make a friend in the material world, and then they may be your friend for some time, but they have some ulterior motive for you. That, okay, I'll only scratch your back if you scratch mine. This is actually the quality of pralambasura, is that I'm going to be your friend for some time, but then when I really want something from you. I want something that's going to benefit me. This is an anartha that must be taken away. This is not the quality of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means non-duplicitous. They have no ulterior motive. Their motive is only to serve Krishna. And the devotees of Krishna should be like this, non-duplicitous. And they should not be desiring for personal gain. Nadhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama, what is it? Janmani. And again, Janmani. Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhaktir. I only want your bhakti. Mukunda Malastotra, verse 3. Mukunda Murna Pranipatya Yache Bhavantam Ekantam. Bhavantam, I want one thing. Ekantam, one thing. Ekantam iyantam artham avismriti twach charanaravinde. I want your lotus feet. How many times? Bhave mestu bhavat prasadat. Birth after birth, my dear Krishna, I only want your lotus feet. The last verse of Jagannath Ashtakam, seventh verse of Jagannath Ashtakam. Nava yache rajyam nacha kanakam amarikyam. This, I don't want anything, Krishna, only your bhakti, again and again. So this is, if you pray to Lord Balaram, and Balaram Purnima is a great day to get started, is that because Lord Balaram's appearance day, he's in a festive mood, he'll actually give you these spiritual strengths. So when you come to the temple, we're fasting devotees generally fast till 12 o'clock. And then there's a feast, there's programs, kirtan. Engage yourselves fully. Meditate on this pastime, this service attitude of Lord Balaram to Krishna. Even though he's Krishna himself, meditate on this pastime, this idea, this mood of Balaram. And by doing so, we'll actually be very spiritually benefited. So I'll just pause here. If there's any questions, comments, corrections, please do so at this moment. Hare Krishna. Maybe Chandrasekhar Maharaj, maybe you'd like to add a comment.
I don't really have any major comment, but very nice class. I like your delivery and your presentation.
Hare Krishna. That's all. That's perhaps something maybe.
I was wondering, what does the shloka have to do with anything? To connect the shloka to the rest of your presentation.
Balaram it's mentioned. It was mentioned in the shloka. 1 second, let me pull it up again. 1:2:22, right? Enlivener of the is enlivening to the self. Lord Balaram is enlivening to the self. It mentions Lord Balaram in the purport, and the personality of Godhead with great delight, energy, enthusiasm is an energy of Balaram. It's coming through Balaram Shakti. So when we serve Guru, we have this enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm comes with the service attitude, which which gives great delight to the devotees. And it's pleasing to the self. Atma, what is the verse? Kurvanti Atma Prasadanim. And Balaram, we discuss, Bala means spiritual strength. Ram means spiritual state of happiness, bliss. So that's a bit of connection. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead. Prabhu, you can pass the mic.
Thank you. You spoke of deserving and undeserving. How do you tell the difference of the two when you come across, when he came across those individuals, I would assume they would be undeserving to have the mercy of her, but he did show them mercy. So how do you tell the difference?
Krishna mentions 4 types of people, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, who actually look for him. Like people who want money, people who want artham, people who are inquisitive about the supreme truth. Those people actually approach Krishna, these 4 types of people. Now, we see on New York City, maybe Narda and Ryan Prabhu, they can speak to this. There are many people who are not even looking for Krishna. They're glazed over. If you look at their eyes, they're glazed over by material intoxication. Like they just go through life and they take birth, they get older, they go through school, graduate college, get married, have kids, and there's nothing wrong with these things internally, but they don't have the ultimate goal in mind. These are the real questions. What's gonna happen to me at the end of my life? Where am I going? What is life even about? People aren't even intelligent enough to think about these things. They think, okay, let me get that promotion, and that's what the goal of life is. Let me make more money. Let me become a millionaire. Let me do all these things, and they don't even ask these questions. So these people, according to the Vedic thing, they're not inquisitive. They're not looking for it. So those people are undeserving. Now, Nitai, when we go out on book distribution and Harinam, we go and we give these people this knowledge, and then we actually make their qualification. We make them start asking questions. We make them do this, and that's actually the Shakti, the energy of Lord Balaram, by doing this. So people who are, to make it short, those who are deserving are those who are inquisitive and doing making steps. Those who are undeserving are people who don't want anything to do with it. Jagai and Madai had no desire to see Krishna face to face, see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Lord Balaram, Nitai gave him that. So that's my short answer.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Can I ask one more question?
Sorry. Very quick. No, very quickly. It's 9:00. If anybody needs to leave, they can go. Yeah.
You speak of the return of Krishna, right? When
The return?
The return of Krishna.
Yeah.
With the current, it seems that there is a transhumanism agenda. Will this affect that return? Currently, I'm not sure how to word it. If I could come back to you at a later date, maybe I can kind of get it more.
Maybe Narda has understanding.
I think what Anthony's asking is, there's a whole big thing with technology nowadays, and AI and things like that, and that being implemented into the human body. And so I think you were talking about the appearance of Krishna's Kalki in this age of Kali, what you were mentioning. So he was asking if that would impact Kalki's appearance at all.
Maharaj, would you like? I think the question, if I understand it, is that now there's technology, AI, things that are not even human, that are kind of being human, and would that impact the coming Kalki and incarnation?
No, Kalki Avatar is destined to come at the end of Kali Yuga, which is, Kali Yuga is 300 and what is it?
427,000?
432,000 years long. So we've gone through about roughly, 5,000 years. So you subtract that as 400 and something. So that's when Kalki Avatar is actually destined to come, and he'll, be born in Shambhala to Vishnu Yasha and his wife, and the Kalki Purana is actually very interesting. It has the whole story of Kalki, how he'll come and how he'll defeat Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga will have to leave, and the whole thing. Yeah. But that doesn't happen now. That happens much later, many thousands of years from now. Is that the question? Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so no amount of materialism and no amount of degradation can stop this avatar of Kalki will come. So I'd like to end there. Thank you very much for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Balaram ji ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Boom.